Welcome to another episode of the Business of Coaching Workshop. I am your host, Andrew Jackson, professional barbell coach, chief operations officer at Barbell Logic, and chief product officer and co-founder of TurnKey Coach. Today, we're going to be talking about the third element of the TurnKey Coach method, support and accountability. Why accountability and support matter, the role of support in coaching, the role of accountability, and then we'll talk about the TurnKey Coach features that we've baked into the software to enable you to build systems as well as demo those features and answer any questions you might have about the concept or about TurnKey Coach and how it will enable you to be a better coach providing support and accountability. So why are accountability and support important? They are the two aspects of coaching that are going to enable consistency. And consistency, as anybody who's been coaching for a while knows, is king. Consistency is king. More so than perfection, more so than the perfect rep, the perfect program, or the perfect program structure. And accountability encourages regular engagement, which enables more consistency and better long-term outcomes. It enables the coach, or the client, to feel like they have ownership and take responsibility for their goals. And it helps keep expectations and timelines front and center for the client. So if you are consistently showing up to hold the client accountable and provide support, then they're going to have more clarity about the mission and their performance relative to their goals. For those that have been following TurnKey Coach, the Business of Coaching workshop for a while, have recognized this. The three-factor business model with cost, price, and value. And we've talked about that we're always trying to increase value while reducing cost. And part of how we have talked about doing that is the framework of building trust, investing in brand or goodwill by intentionally building trust. And I've described in the past that the way that we do that is through demonstrating ability, integrity, and benevolence. And over time, my argument is that benevolence, or perceived benevolence by the client, is the largest driver of building trust and therefore adding value to your coaching product. And how do you do that? I believe largely it's through support, accountability, and the relationship that you build with your client. So key concepts here: coaching is more than just programming sets and reps. Accountability drives consistency, and support creates connection. And the best client outcomes come when both are baked into your systems, not left to chance. You might, with a few clients, a handful of clients, be able to stay on top of things that drive accountability and support. But if you want to scale your business to 30, 40, 50, 60 clients, you need systems that are going to help you set expectations, provide timely feedback, and follow up when clients go quiet. We'll show you the missed workout feature, which is probably one of the more useful. In fact, I think following up with missed workouts are more valuable than completed workouts at times when it comes to accountability and support. Support, slightly different than accountability. I always kind of add them together and merge them together, but I think accountability is a little bit different than support. Where support comes into play is with empathy and encouragement. So accountability is, in my mind, helping the client recognize their actions relative to their goals and ensure that they are following through with the actions that are required to move towards their goals. Support is where you come in as a coach to be able to help a client work around whatever might be happening in their life. Could be an injury, could be a life circumstance, but it's something that is a potential derailer for the client to accomplish their goals. And it's not just because they're not following through with what they said they were going to do, which that would be more of the accountability bucket. Support is being more of a enabler for the client to reach their goals when something is potentially in the way. And it is, I think, the primary facilitator for human connection, because it's the aspect of your coaching which is going to enable the client to feel like you see them as more than just a machine who's executing some program. In this theoretical world where you just give somebody a program, they execute it perfectly, and then they get their results. There's not a whole lot that the coach can do there to demonstrate value, other than obviously being able to create a good program. But there's a lot more value that a coach can demonstrate when they're able to help the client feel like they are seen as a human, and that you guys are connected and staying engaged on the goals, as well as being able to, when milestones are achieved or setbacks are encountered, that you are able to celebrate and reframe accordingly, by acknowledging wins and helping the client see a setback within the context of a broader journey. So again, the coach's role here is to be proactive in your check-ins, not just reactive. So a great example that just happened to me recently was that a client has been working towards a kettlebell certification, and their program was getting progressively overloaded. Obviously, that's what we try to do. But there were warning signs in their comments and in some of the metrics that I would track that the program was starting to wear them down. And it wasn't an acute injury. It wasn't a hit the wall. It was early warning signs. Fatigue was accumulating. Difficulty was accumulating. These are metrics that I track on every workout. But maybe more importantly, the client left a small comment about their sleep being disrupted. And it wasn't because of something that I needed to hold them accountable for. It wasn't because they were staying up too late. It wasn't because they were drinking caffeine in the afternoon. But it was because the training had actually reached a point where it was so much volume and intensity that on one particular day of the week, it was disrupting their sleep. Just Mondays in particular, they didn't sleep well, and it was kind of trickling down to the other week. So that was an opportunity for me to be proactive in listening to their comments, their feedback, recognizing that this isn't somebody who's just trying to get out of working hard. They were working incredibly hard for 3+ months. And I made a decision to adjust the program, particularly on that Monday workout, to spread the stress out and demonstrate that I can add value where they don't just keep methodically repeating the same program over and over again, but that I could react to what their situation was, their specific situation, and empathize with where they're coming from, understand the broader training context and life outside of training, and adjust. Additionally, I think there's a really important piece, this third bullet, of helping a client feel like their training is part of something bigger. I call it the meta narrative. I was just talking with Coach Carl Schute about this morning, actually, in that a lot of what we're doing in training is simple, hard, effective, ultra repetitive, arguably boring, and sometimes even silly. How this process needs to be in order to be effective. And the only way to stay consistent is to believe that there's some meaning that has a larger story arc than the session today, how I'm feeling this week, what my goal is next month. And I think an important part of supporting your clients' training is to help them connect the dots between the tactical things that they're doing day to day in their training to that larger meta narrative. Now, so what is that? That could be something like and this requires you to understand and know your clients and empathize with where they're coming from. Let's say you know that one of your clients has a parent who's ailing, and they're watching their parent kind of wither away and be unable to do things that they know their parent really cares about. And now they're envisioning themselves and their kind of long-term goals for life, and don't want to reach a point where they're physically incapable of doing the things they love because they didn't take action today to prepare themselves. Maybe they have a more urgent health need that they want to address. Maybe it's a weight loss goal or a strength goal. But usually there's something behind, I want to get stronger and lose body fat. There's a why, there's an emotional why, and there's a reason that connects to this something bigger. And I think it's important as a coach to understand that about your client and to have conversations with your client over time that keep that in front of mind for you as the coach and for the client, so that as you are going month after month after month, year after year after year, sometimes some of our clients have been with us for 6, 7+ years, that narrative might change or evolve, and it requires some conversation over time, and for you to remember what those things are that are important to your client, so that when programming isn't, or training isn't going quite as well as you want, or life isn't giving you that positive feedback that you are hitting PRs or hitting new waist and weight metrics, maybe you have an injury, there's something that you can tie back to that supports your client through those periods of time, so that they stay more consistent. Not because we're trying to manipulate them to stay with us longer, but because we care about adding value to our client's experience, their training experience, and it has a positive effect of changing their behavior. If we can help our clients shift their mindset and reframe the situation in a way that they can then see how their behavior connects to something meaningful to them, then we are doing good, we are adding value, and we are doing our job as coaches, which is to help our clients achieve their goals. So that's at a very high level concept perspective of why accountability and support matters, what that looks like. These are features that we've developed over time that are in the trenches, tactical things that enable you or help you essentially provide a support and accountability to you as a coach, so that you can leverage the data that we're collecting and the tool that we have for connection to provide accountability and support to your client. In large part, every single one of these features came about because of some moment of pain that I had, or that our team of coaches had at Barbell Logic, where we wished that something existed, or that one of these things existed, so that we could be a better coach. Obviously, direct messaging is a important tool for being able to communicate. Group chat was recently released in the last year, and that allows us to provide even more context if you want to build community with your lifters, where you can connect your clients together, or subgroups of clients that have a shared mission, and have more communication. But then these reminders, this next series of reminders and alerts, were situations where I had a very acute pain point with program due date as a explicit example, where I would not realize, I would forget that one of my clients needed a program. That might sound trivial, but I think it's a erosion of trust if the agreement is that the client is going to open up their app each day or each week, and they're going to have a program for them ready to go, and then that isn't there. That moment where the client opens their app and nothing is there, that is a huge lost opportunity to demonstrate benevolence and to build a relationship of trust where they feel like they have accountability and support. So we created a programming due date reminder that enables you to be prompted every single day with a note that the client doesn't have a workout. Missed workout alerts, that one I mentioned already. I found this was an acute pain point where I would get to the end of the week, and this was back when I was doing weekly programming, open up my app and notice that the client had not done anything, and I had no idea. Unless I had the inclination to go check in on that particular client, or I had some workflow to go check all of my clients to see if they'd completed their work, I would get to the end of the week and not know that that had happened. So we created this missed workout alert that within 48 hours, if TurnKey Coach, or if the client hasn't completed the app, then you get a notification. Birthday reminders seem small, but once a year, having something pop up in your workflow that gives you that little nudge of an opportunity to connect with your client outside of training. These things are not huge additions to your workload. They're small incremental things that you can do in your daily workflow that enable you to provide more accountability and support. Coach coverage. If you're on a team, you can get help from your other coaches. Calendar notes, calendar block off days. These are important tools. Calendar notes allow you to keep track of some of that history over time. If something pops up, you can leave a small note. Calendar block off days is huge because it's a two-way communication for you and your client to be able to say what's happening with your client's schedule. I'll show that shortly. Labels on your client workout. I'll show you that. A very simple way to keep track of injuries or goals or notes that you want to have visible at all times when you're working with your client. Obviously, automated metric tracking and PR visualization. That was the impetus for creating TurnKey Coach years ago, and it provides you data to be able to ground your client's performance in visual progress or setbacks, but setbacks within the context of their overall performance, where you can, again, kind of help reframe things. Recent history, consistency, tonnage graph, PR notifications. These are all things that give you more information to be able to provide accountability and support. So let's open up a little demo here. Probably need to share my screen. Again, if anybody following along has any questions, please drop those in the chat and we will get those sorted. Okay, so hopefully this is being shared. My screen right now is actually pretty well cleared out because I've already completed all of my work for the day. And we're actually demoing a little bit of a teaser here of a feature we're going to be releasing in the next few weeks, where the Connect page allows you to see all of your notifications completed, programming missed, other, which could be a comment, and you'll be able to filter by each of these. If they're cleared, you'll see all caught up. In this case, I have a birthday notification, which pops up and allows me to send either a quick brief voice message, typed note, and follow up and move on. I can also go to my history page where this will give me an opportunity to open up some more of the features that I mentioned before. Labels, right off the top, at the top of the page here. Let's say somebody's got an injury. That's one I commonly use here is right shoulder. Like let's say somebody says in their workout, they've got a thing bugging them on their shoulder. I can just add a quick label. That will then also show up on the client page as a label, and it'll show up on the Connect page if they have a workout posted that they have a right shoulder issue. Missed workout notification. If this workout is not completed in the next 48 hours, I'm gonna have a pop-up on the Connect page that prompts me, very similar to the birthday reminder, to respond. Calendar block off tools. Want to show that real quick. This is a quick little calendar modal that pops up, and let's say the client is going to be traveling in the next week. They can leave a quick note here, and I'll see it on my calendar, and the client will actually also see it on theirs. So I don't know if you've ever had a client try to explain their travel plans. They can get pretty long-winded, and there's a lot of moving pieces, and everybody describes their travel in a little bit different way. This becomes a real simple way for posting two-way communication on the calendar. I mentioned calendar notes. It's slightly different than a label, where you can add a date-specific note to the calendar. Let's say this is also can be color coded. This could be a note that maybe your doctor's appointment, something like that. And that will be tagged to a specific date, which will then also show up in the notes section. You can also add notes here that are not date specific. So let's say you want to have a note of their goals. You can type this in here. Let's say they want a 405 deadlift, 315 squat, 275 bench. Save that note, and now you've got a reference. You could also, let's say you want to add a note here for equipment. Totally freeform text, barbell, squat rack, dumbbells. And now you have a reference that you can pull up at any time to keep track of whatever you want. Equipment could be an injury, it could be a medical report, could be blood work. That's all available to you. Direct message is also something that can be popped up directly from the calendar. It's also on the Connect page, as we saw earlier. Right here at the top, you have a link to their calendar, a link to the direct message. You can also leave labels here. As well as I mentioned, we have automatic metric tracking, tonnage, consistency, PR graphs, so you can keep track of progress as well as recent history. So you can kind of see the approach that we've been taking. I find that the longer I've been working with a client, the more recent history is a useful tool. This individual is obviously still making pretty early gains. We call this guy pretty solid intermediate, if you think about it from the training advancement curve perspective. But I find this to be useful, so if somebody's coming back from a vacation, for example, and I can highlight that, yeah, that wasn't a PR, but you're at 98% of your PR, even though we've only just gotten back to training. That can be really useful. The history button enables you to go back and look up previous times that you've programmed that particular exercise. And highlight any notes or previous comments. With that, let's see, we got about 7 minutes left. Just kind of time check. Dan, any questions coming in from the live audience?
No questions at this time.
PR table is always available here with every single set and rep combination. At this point, the workout here is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Programming lock date, I think I mentioned. So in this case, I won't get a programming reminder until the 17th. But if I want to set a reminder for an earlier date, I can click that programming due date to open it up for tomorrow. And I'll get a notification wherever I set that. I find that most useful when assigning a template because I might have 16 weeks of programming. But if I want to remind myself to check in with the program on Friday and make any tweaks that I want for the week, I can do that there. Let me go ahead and clear this out because that was not actual travel. Coverage. If you have other coaches on your team, you can go in and assign those to either all of your clients or individually, and make sure that your clients have feedback, even if they're not, or even if you're training, traveling. Yeah, I think that has probably covered it just about. everything I wanted to know. Let me see, double check the feature list here. Labels, tonnage, notifications, coverage, group chat, direct messaging. On the group chat, you have the ability to create individual channels where you can do announcements. You can have, let's say you want to have a Masters Athletes channel, Coaches Corner if you just want your own coaches, but you have ultimate flexibility to create a new channel. You can decide who is able to post, whether it's anybody in the channel, just coaches and admins, or admins only, depending on the size of your team. And then you can also set preferences for people to be able to mute the channel or leave the channel. So if you want to create an announcements channel that only the admins can go to, and you don't want people to be able to mute or turn it off, let's say you just want to be able to push notifications to all of your clients, then you can set it up accordingly. Or if, let's say, you want to just have a channel where everybody can join and call it your memes and jokes channel, then you can set this up for everybody to be able to post and allow people to mute or leave, and then go in and you're able to customize who can join. So you can choose everybody in your company, all of just your clients, or you can go in and add custom members. Once you create those channels, now you've got the ability to push messages out to everybody and have one place for the folks to meet. So, bit of a broad range of topics there, but hopefully gives you a sense of things to keep in mind. Oh, here we go. From Instagram, is there a history button for nutrition settings? I have clients doing your nutrition check-ins on calendar days and kind of like the PR table. It'd be super helpful to see history of their weight. Okay, so if I understand this correctly, let me see if I can. I do not want to leave the studio. Actually going to go to a different account for that question. Bear with me here. Excellent question. Okay, so on the nutrition side, if I understand this correctly, if you just want to track weight on the nutrition side, what I would recommend is to add a metric. So right now, in order to add a metric, you have to have a workout. We're going to be changing that in the future. But for now, let's just say you want to do weight and waist. You can add metrics to the calendar, tell them to fill those out. And from the client perspective, I'll show you what it looks like. They'll see this, fill out weight and waist. And let's say today my weight is 256, my waist is 38.5. I mark it complete. Now you'll see those metrics are tracked. So you can go back and see this was my weight over time. And you can collect this as many times as you want. You can also track metrics on the workout page as well. And in fact, you can even add weight to your client's workouts. If I'm tracking nutrition separately, sometimes I'll do weight and waist over there. But a lot of my clients, I'll just add the weight metric to their strength workout, and you can track that as well. And these metrics are totally customizable. So you can see here, same metric is visualized on the strength side as well, assuming it's the same metric. Does that answer your question? Excellent. Perfect. Yeah, the metrics are really powerful as a way of, again, from an accountability and support perspective, and these are infinitely customizable. So you could just, steps per day, steps per week. If you want to say, let's see, back scratches, you can add whatever you want, just like an exercise. You click add new metric, and it's going to ask you for some information to create the name, a description, and what type of metric it is. And then you can track those independently of your workout. I should probably mention, from a support and accountability standpoint, probably the most important metrics that I recommend tracking is the workout duration, the difficulty, and fatigue. I got this from a study that I saw on the concept of session RPE, where they essentially used these three metrics to triangulate the overall stress of a session. And one of them is objective, the session duration, and the other two are subjective. And I find those to be really powerful because you can see what impact the workout is having on your client. And that's actually one of the things that when I was talking about that kettlebell example, it tipped me off to an issue at hand. Let me see if I can go back and actually find it real quick. You can go back and notice that I think it was about 5 or 6 weeks ago here. Difficulty and fatigue were 5 and 4 here. So these are three metrics that I track over time because I know that if workouts start creeping up over an hour for a long period of time, an hour and a half, then I know this is probably going to be a workout that is unsustainable. Similarly, you can see here fatigue popped up really high. So normally it's kind of bouncing around 3, and then we had a couple of sessions at 5. That tipped me off to know that this might have been a problem. You also see the workout duration was gradually increasing over time, and then I made some adjustments, and now we've kind of got the workouts a little bit more manageable. Difficulty was also a bunch of 5s, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and now we've kind of knocked it back down. We had 1 5 in the last 2 months. So I find metrics to be super useful in an asynchronous environment when you're not there to perceive as well how hard they think it is or how long the workout is. The workout duration might be the most powerful of those metrics. It's because some people you can give 5 exercises and they knock it out in 45 minutes. Some people you give 3 exercises, depending on the sets and the intensity, and it lasts them almost 2 hours. So this is another great way, I think, of demonstrating the ability to understand the individual and customize the workout and be proactive. Because if I can monitor difficulty, duration, and fatigue, then I can recognize when we might have a bit of a situation where the program needs to change. And before they completely derail, pull back on the stress and the intensity, redirect the program, and keep them consistent. Is there a way to add the same metrics you want to track to many different sessions or a bunch of sessions without adding them manually? Well, probably the best way, so what I do, you got to do it manually at least once, but once you have those added, you can use copy and paste. So I use copy and paste like crazy. It takes a little while to build up the metrics that you want consistently, but once you have them added, you can do the copy and paste. Additionally, in templates, you can always go in and include the metrics if you want. That's a bad example, but you can add templates to, maybe it's in this one, even if it's not. let's say you have a structure. Here we go. So I went in at one point because I use this template often, and I just added them all manually, at least to the first week. And that way going forward, when I copy or when I add that template to the client calendar or copy paste, then it will show up. Long term, we are working on a solution where you would have potentially automated programming solutions. That's where it's in beta test, kind of R&D right now, but it's essentially an AI assistant coach that will suggest workouts and metrics for future programs with your clients. Awesome questions. Appreciate that. We are about 5 minutes over time. Very cool. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks for coming in and asking questions. 6 minutes over. Again, appreciate everybody that came in and asked the questions. And we will see you next time on the Business of Coaching workshop. If you are new to the TurnKey Coach world and would like to get more detailed demo or set up some time to talk to either me or Coach McGregor, you can schedule your free discovery call at turnkey.coach/BOCCALL. That's turnkey.coach/BOC call. We will see you next week.